Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris, and when you're playing Tennis Manager 25, it's a series that's been out for a few years now. I played the first one, played a little bit of the second one, didn't really continue on. It felt kind of bare bones, a good idea, but just needing time and a couple of iterations to kind of get going. Like, fill out a few of the gaps, clean up a little bit of presentation, and just add little bits more of complexity to it. And they've definitely done that over the years. I didn't really play the third and fourth versions. This is number five. This is number, yeah, I think this is number five. This is Tennis Manager 2025 or Tennis Manager 25. And yeah, I'm kind of impressed by how it's been doing things. I did have a series going here on YouTube or ready to go throughout the entire week, starting on Bank Holiday Monday. 7 videos, over 8 hours of footage, all completely put together and edited, 3 full seasons, etc., etc. I had the music from the game in the background. Apparently, that's copyrighted, and like all of those videos would have been um, flagged, and I wouldn't get a copyright strike from the first video. I don't know about the others, but it said I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't, but they could upgrade that to a strike later on, or could ask for the videos to be taken down. So I tried to edit, I tried to do what I could to remove that music either through YouTube or my own software. Just wasn't working, so we had to scrap the entire thing, and I'm starting over from scratch. I am starting over from scratch. It's annoying, but I think I learned a lot on that one. And there's things I liked and there's things I didn't like. And there's definitely staff members and players and strategies that I kind of came up with over those 3 years to kind of figure out where I want to be. And we're going to be a little bit more challenging, even though I'm going to drop the difficulty. We'll talk about that in a minute. But overall, I think like it was a fun game. I really enjoyed it. But that save's now gone. I've deleted it and we're restarting, this time without any music. So hopefully no issues with copyright will occur. So hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, a little bit of sympathy, and to help get this series off the ground, I really would appreciate it. And with all that being said, I think we're gonna jump right in here. Also, leave a comment. Why have I named this guy Marcus Harold? And in my other game, I had Harold Marcus. I want to know if people know, if you recognize anything about Marcus Harold, Harold Marcus. Um, I don't think it's super obvious, but I feel if you do know something, then you would be able to figure it out. If you're a fan of something, you would be able to figure it out. I'm sure there'll be lots of wrong answers, which makes sense, but isn't where I'm pulling from. So, yeah. Comments, have a wild guess. Have a wild guess. And also about my setup, etc., as we go through creating our manager. So, for those that don't know, you create a manager who oversees a whole tennis academy. Um, they also are a coach of a player, and so quite important to a player's development. And then they hire other staff to do the things that they're not doing or can't do. And so the next screen over is creating your manager. It tells you to start at level 5. I think that's too much. I've done level 7. That's a lot of points. Level 5 is good. But I think we're starting quite low down. Going to try and build through the academy eventually. But the first few people we bring in won't be through the academy. I think seasoned is a good place. Novice is really kind of hard. Um, but yeah, you could do novice for sure and just like really go 0 to hero. I don't want to do that right now. I still want to be able to have a little bit of an accelerated start, so season is a good place to start for me. And that brings us to actually training your players, because that's going to be a big part of these attributes. So there are, I believe, 6, 7 categories. I believe there's coaching, technical skills, physical skills, mental skills, tactical, and then physio. Now, physios are their own thing, so I think there's 6. But physios are their own thing. You're not going to be doing physio. That's why your ability to provide care is locked to a 1. So you can't do that. Even if I had points, I can put them everywhere else. I can't put them in here. So that's fine. So that's the 6th. Now, as a coach, which you, as well as being the manager of the academy, you are a coach, you basically have to do number 1. You have to do motivation. I didn't say motivation earlier, did I? So it's motivation, technical, physical, mental, tactical. Yeah, those are the 5. So you have to do 1, and then you can do 2, 3, 4, 5, but any more than 3 categories for yourself, another coach, or for a trainer who doesn't do category 1 but can do anywhere from 2 to 5, can only do 3. Any more than that, and you get tired. And that's 3 across your entire roster. So if you've got 6 players and 6 coaches, they're all going to do number 1 for their own player. And then they can only do additional categories for their player, but the trainers can train anyone and fit in. So, you'd need if every coach is doing 3 categories out of the 5, that would leave you with 2, which is 12, which means at minimum you'd need 4 other trainers for those 6 to round out. And I hope that makes sense a little more when we're like assigning the training staff to each of the players. But the first category is pretty much motivation, and that's going to be huge. So that is going to be the coach stat. And so every coach we hire needs to have good motivation, and that's kind of our thing. We're motivating. We get their mental game right. We train them physically. We kind of get them, mind and body as one. We're going to have to get someone else to teach them actually how to play tennis. But we're building a super athlete, not a super tennis player. We're building the athlete side of things with the right mentality and the right physicality, and let somebody else teach them all the technique that we just don't have. We're a sports coach. We're a life coach. We're a mentor. That's kind of the way we're set up. And so the motivation is going to be key for that. Then, like, category number 3 is physicality, which is movement and physical abilities. And that's going to be 5-star for whoever we coach. So 1 and 3 right now are 5-star. 4 is also 5-star because that's mental and tactics together. And 5 is just tactics together. So we're really bad at coaching number 2 out of the 6 categories. But we're 5-star, probably 1-star, 5-star, 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 5-star. Maybe there's one too many categories. That'll be 5-star, but I don't know. But then physio is a separate role we hire per player. 1 physio per player, just like 1 coach per player, and 1 player per coach, 1 player per physio. So you need a dedicated physio for each and a dedicated coach for each. Otherwise, they might not develop and they might not be preventing injuries or recovering well from injuries. So, like I said, we'll have to hire people for this, but we're really set up to do as much as we can on a coaching level with the points we have. And that frees up a chance then to, like, move our other staff about, our trainers about, to where other players need them and just take care of the rest ourselves. We just need a technical trainer for ourselves. So depending how many players we have, how many other coaches, that will show us what gaps we're probably going to have for our players' development and the training that we're setting up. And then we'll hire the trainers that cover those categories and keep us safe. And we can hire a lot of trainers, so there's no issue there whatsoever. But that's why we've gone for these four and for the motivation. That's all coaching. Now, going into games, like I say, motivation helps for the pre and post match talks, but also our relationship with the player is dictated here by player management. So, this is the initial level and also the rate of growth. And if bad things happen, the better player management will mitigate some of those and have a slower decline in relationship. And that's going to be important too, because we're going to have to be working really close with players, and things might not go well at times. So that's going to be key. Player evaluation. I mean, estimating a player's level and potential, find their levels, and also for analysts, number of positive and negative points during briefing. So the analysts are going to look at things and just give us a bunch of information about what's going right, what's going wrong. We're not an analyst. And player evaluation, that's primarily a scouting thing. Now, I'm not sure if, as a manager or a coach, we have any influence over that scouting in the way of once the scouts have got them and we've got this accurate but still not perfect idea of a player's potential or ability, do we then refine that over time, or does it refine itself over time as we just get to know the player? But I don't think that there's a ton of need, or that we'd have a ton of effect, even if it does affect, which I don't believe it does, and unraveling that potential. So, yeah, a 1 is perfectly fine there. Now, negotiation and communication are both very similar for me. So communication, we speak better at press conference. We might get better answers and come across better. That's going to be good. Communication is key, as they always say. But also it boosts the interest of external actors. Now, this is the board that you might be negotiating with. It will be also equipment sponsors. Each player can get an equipment sponsor for their racket they're using, their clothes they're wearing, and the shoes they're wearing. Clothes and shoes are sometimes, but not always, paired together on the same contract. So you have kind of either 2 or 3 deals per player for equipment. But again, this is the role of the agent. That's what their job is, to negotiate equipment. So we can get better deals for equipment through our agent with negotiation, and we get more interest and more people offering equipment deals through our agent. So we don't do that ourselves, but hiring staff, talking to our board, and recruiting players, any contracts to do with that, our own contract perhaps, the staff contracts to bring them on board, the player contracts to bring them on board, or renegotiations, best terms through negotiation, and the most interest through communication. So that's why I've decided to put a decent chunk of points in. Now, I think as we get more experience, we will level, we'll get more points later on, and we can round things out. We can finish these out. We can start working on our training. We can become a better all-round manager. But this, to me, is just a perfect little way of doing things. We can manage an existing academy. The top one is IMG. Rafa Nadal is here because we are playing with the realism mod. So instead of fake names and fake pictures, there will be real names and real pictures, except I believe the French Open and the French La Défense tournament, something like that, because there are copyright issues with the mod maker being asked not to use their real names and pictures. So everything else, I believe, has been done. So new graphics, new logos, new pictures, proper names, everything set up where they could be. So you could take over anywhere. You could start near the bottom with one of these sort of poorer facilities that don't have great business or medical training, scouting, or team. So the reputation is just like, how good is it and how does the world see it? And they kind of see all tennis academies the same right now, except for the big three, which aren't perfect, but they're the best in class right now. Rafa Nadal, the Muratoglu, and the IMG. So you can see that. But then the team, this is actually their roster. So the worst group of tennis players at an academy is at the Good to Great Tennis Academy of Sweden. And then the rest are kind of similar. And then you get up to the Elite Tennis Center and the Muratoglu Tennis Academy, both in France. They have the best roster of talent at game start. Scouting is just what it says, how good they are at scouting for new talent. And again, Everett and Alexander Waska are not great. And we got these four being pretty good. Training your players, developing your players. IMG and Muratoglu, All In and JC are not great. Medical, I think a little bit of prevention, I think, but really a lot of recovery. And it can be a month or 2 months of recovery. So your IMG is really good at that. Like I say, there's a bunch that aren't. And then business is just making money. So Elite Tennis and All In Academy in France, they don't make much money. IMG and Muratoglu really make money. So yeah, you can kind of see for yourselves how it all works out and who's the best. And then Talent Zone is just where you're at. Can you sign the best talents from that location? So yeah, France, United States, those five really got a good chance of signing the top end talents from France and the US, respectively. And as you move down, you can see it's a little more dodgy in Serbia. The Tipsarevic, not great. Sweden, the good to great, is more good than great. So when you get your youth intakes, because there is a youth intake now through your youth academy, you get a certain number of players, depending how big your academy is and how well put together it is, you'll get a larger or smaller number of youth prospects, and then their quality will be dependent on your facilities as well. And this plays into it with your talent zone as well as your staff levels, I believe. So, yeah, we don't want to start at an existing, though we do want to create our own. We're already kind of set up, so we got for this TA logo, we're going to be the Total Athletics Tennis Academy and Sports Agency in the UK. That's not the best talent pool. But I don't want to play in France and I don't want to play in America because I think there's too much competition. There isn't actually an academy in Britain in this game, so why not us? Really, why not us? And then it's going to ask how we want to set things up. We could be high profile and have a lot of facilities and compete with those big boys from day one. Don't feel like that's a lot of fun, right? That's a little too much. We get a ton of staff. They're already like phenomenal staff, so we can't develop staff. We can't develop facilities. We're making 500,000 every single month, so money's not even going to be much of an issue. We're kind of going to hit the top fairly quickly, even if our starting players aren't that good. And we'll be able to recruit a ton because we're very high profile with a ton of good facilities. It likes to start you up well established, and I don't blame them making 300 grand a month or 350, three, what's that, 385 and a half. That's a lot of money per month. Um, so yeah, you start off quite well, but you're getting a ton of money to actually like upgrade your players and your staff and also your facilities. You're very quickly, I feel, within a year or two, going to move from well established to high profile. That's the kind of game you want to do. That's the level for you. New Academy's fun. I've been at this level before, and it's a little bit more of a stretch. You still get like 309k, almost 308.8k per month, and that's not too bad. That's not too bad. It's still like 3.5 million over the year. That's a ton of money. You can get a decent number of facilities. You can also sack your coaching staff and kind of do a lot better elsewhere. Just improvement in general. I'd say a year or two you'll be well established, and probably a year or two, maybe 3. So by year 5, you're moving from well established to high profile. That's a nice pathway. But since we're playing on a slightly easier difficulty where money is less of an issue, we're going to start from 0. Brand new, we've barely got anything. We're going to only earn 70k per month. And it's probably going to take 2 or 3 years to move up to here. And then it's going to be a decade before we hit high profile, unless we're doing things really, really well. It's going to be more of a grind. And it's going to limit the level of staff and the level of player we're able to recruit. But that's also good because that's easier on this difficulty. And our stats would make it slightly easier and more people want to join us. So we go this way, we kind of negate some of those advantages for now until we've built ourselves up. That's what I like to see. You can just choose a vision. I don't know if it affects very much. It might do, but I haven't seen anything that it really is obvious that it does. So yeah, you can make money, you can train talent from your home nation, you can develop youngsters, or you can do a bit of everything. In general, I do a bit of everything anyway, but my main focus is youth training. That is going to be the focus of this, is building from youth academy and young players. I, I believe I'm kind of committing to the idea that we're not going to, we're not going to hire any player, I'm not going to sign or recruit any player that is over the age, I want to say, of 21. Kind of want to keep it at teenagers if I can. Once they're in the academy, that doesn't mean when they turn 21 or whatever, I'm going to release them. But we're not going to bring people in that are 21, 22, maybe somewhere around there. So I think keeping it youth training is going to be our pathway. And then the budget, because we're quite low and money is going to be really tight, I'm going to bump this up a tiny bit to 1 million. So this is your starting budget. You also get a yearly budget at the end of each season to go. So we're going to have a 1 million budget to begin with, and then I'm used to having 1 to 2 million at the end of the first season. I'm pretty sure with these facilities and whatnot, we're going to have a lower budget than that for year 2. So this is probably the most money we're going to have for like 2 to 3 seasons, especially since when we get anywhere close to this amount of money, we're going to be building up some facilities. So it's a little bit upfront, but not too much to spoil things. Gives us a little bit of an acceleration and allows us to change out staff if we want. And our first player, we can create, we can tailor make them, we can make them a superstar, we can give them a ton of potential. I just want to take over an existing player, and I think that's kind of what we're going to do. So yeah, we can see these players. Like Hugo Umbet. Just very, very good. Those stats are out of 20. You can see here, like I said, the serve is split into three. Forehands in two, backhands in two. Then the spins, drop shots control is a defensive control over your shots. Timing is offensive. And we got the physicals and the mentals kind of broken down a little more too. And so, as well as the double stat, which, you know, if you want your player to play doubles, then that's going to be key. But yeah, this is a really solid player who's kind of famous. Got his personality traits. Each of those does something. He's known as a big server, and you can see level potential and also the progress. So, yeah, he's a late bloomer, which means he's coming into his peak. He's 26, and late bloomers hit their peak around 28. So he's still growing a little bit. He looks like a monster. He is a monster. That's why he's number 4 in the world. That is why. But he's too old for us. Now, we could technically try and get Holger Rune, and very solid, almost a superstar, early bloomer, aggressive baseline. You can see here he's more of a confirmed experience, different personality, and these game plans. Green means that they're really good at the game plan. Yellow means that they're pretty good, but they haven't mastered it yet. And then red is it's kind of a new game plan they're learning. They don't know how to play that style, and you can edit those even more than just these basic kind of concepts. We'll get into that a little bit later on too. But yeah, these are just like far too good of people. And you can see here the experience level. We've got experienced, confirmed, solid. There's a lot of solids. Hardened, seasoned, aspirant, and then novice. And so to begin with, first thing I'm going to do is go to under 21s. And then we're going to look at their potential, but we're going to look pretty much, I believe, at novice and aspirant players. I don't think I even want seasoned right now, but maybe I do. Maybe I do. So the first thing I want to do, though, is we've got to start off here. And I think if you are British or you have been doing anything with Britain, then Hannah's got to be one of your players. And then Henry is a little bit older. He's really solid. I feel like maybe a little too much there. And Mark Saban, like, yeah, there's definitely levels to this. It's like, how good do we want to go? But Hannah Klugman, I think, is definitely she was the one that I signed day one and was developing. So yeah, I do feel that Hannah's almost the perfect starter in that she's okay, but she's like super young. There are definite weaknesses, like the physical and the mental side of the game isn't quite there. But there's so much promise, and again, we're really good at training what she's not good at. So if we can kind of develop that as well as a better serve on her, I kind of think she develops quite nicely. And by the time she hits 18 or so, you know, she'll be really a mainstay on the women's tour and just able to get stuff done. So definitely a great starting point. And then if you look at the guys, there's not that many options, especially not when you're looking at top end potential. So yeah, I mean, I've had Mark before. It does. He's pretty good, but it does take a little time to get there. And then the other one I was thinking of is America. I don't know if I really want to go American early, but Michael Antonius is also someone I ended up with who was really good. Does need a lot of development, that is for sure. The other three possibilities, because I scouted these people, no, four possibilities I scouted out. I'm just trying to think now. Czech Republic, nope, would be Jana Kovachkova, who I feel would be a very good person to develop. I just want to highlight some of these players. Brazil as well, yeah. Like Victoria, very good, very tempting. Nahani Victoria, very good, very tempting. And I'm I think he's a little bit older. I think there's a was he a little bit older? I can't remember. I can't remember who he is right now. I don't. Yeah, it's not the fact that we're kind of off the bottom here. Just a little annoying. That is a little annoying. But yeah, I don't see him. Maybe he's a fake player that's been overwritten and his details were completely wrong. Everyone else's names are very similar and etc. So I don't know where he is. Um, Could 100% for Luis Guto Miguel, who looks very well rounded for a 15-year-old. But again, that is Brazil. Um, then the other two are both French, which, you know, Ksenia Efremova, just very, very good. Very similar to Hannah, I feel, except she's got physicals. Some of the technicals are moved around a bit. So not really sure about that. But Moise Kwame, just feel as an attacker, it's a different kind of player. It's very similar, low novice, still a little bit of fame. I think starting with Hannah and with Moise would be really good. They both got the potential to go long term. They both are at a similar level right now. They're both stupidly young, both 15. And yeah, realistically, you look at them and you feel, they're the best 15-year-olds around or close to that. But they're also not on the junior tour. And so, yeah, they're going to be kind of fighting against the adults at age 15. So there's something about this that I like. We've got Hannah, we've got Moise, we've got an English girl, we've got a French guy. And let's move forward. British, not English. That's British. Let's stick there. For some reason, I'm American. I'm meant to be British. We were going to be set up in Britain, but that's fine. Um, And yeah, it's going to put us in charge of Hannah, which I don't hate. It's going to be really difficult if I had to choose between them, but I think we would go with Hannah. So yeah, TA here at NBC Sport, new management for Total Athletics. Marcus Harold is appointed manager. A breath of fresh air on the courts. Anna Klugman told us he has high hopes. So she is saying that either she has high hopes or she is saying that I have high hopes. That's okay. And Mike Borg, our board director, just says, Willkommen. Thank you very much. So, yeah, this is the game. Sort of your email screen. The first screen you can sort by a bunch of different things. I just tend to read all mail and then trash them. But I'll keep them in the trash in case I need to find them, which I normally never do. You can see here the biggest moves within the top 100, the biggest moves up in total, the biggest drops, and any tournament news here on the circuits. You can also then see the rankings. So Sinner, Alcaraz, Zverev, Medvedev, Fritz, Djokovic, Rublev, Demino, Ruud, and Dimitrov, the top 10. Of those, Alcaraz is kind of within our age range, but not great. Rune is as well. Jack Draper, who's a pretty good young player and British, that, you know, if I was starting a bit higher and I wanted like a superstar to like go out and just win from day one, Jack would probably have been my choice. But we do have other good young players. The top, the top teenager is Jakub Mensik. But again, this is still really high up. Really high up. What is he? 40th in the world. We're starting to see a few more teenagers creep in. So there's two 19-year-olds, three 19-year-olds, and we're just outside the top 100. So we're way, way down. And again, very similar if you look at the top 100 for the women. A little bit more, I believe, but yeah. Kazantseva is there. Maya Joint at 18 is all the way up to 72. We got some good 22, 23-year-olds in the mix as well, but go all the way up. And Mira Andreeva, the Russian, if you see blank sort of country flags, for some reason, that is Belarus and Russia right now. Not sure why. It's in the base game as well as in the mod. But yeah, she is there at 17. Schneider at 20. These are good people. And Coco Gauff is a really highly rated player. She normally does really well really early on. Now, in the boys' title, we're 17. We're playing on the men's tour at age 15. We're right up there. Luis Guto Miguel, we looked at, also right up there. And the top rating for a British guy is Oliver Bonding, who could be close to making a step up to the men's tour. He's inside that top 2,000, so he probably will be playing that more than juniors. Once you get a ranking on the men's, you tend to move to the men's. Same with the women's tours. So, yeah, 17th there, 18th for Hannah. And that's kind of where I went for these two 15-year-olds that are kind of at the same point and are really solid. I really would have liked to have picked up Yana. Really would have liked to have. But, hey, I think starting with just these two is going to be good for us. And you got the race to the finals in each kind of setup. World Cup ranking for the internationals, that is a part of this, and you can captain a side and kind of coach some of the players. Different tournaments are going to be showing up across the year, different difficulties. We're going to have to navigate that a little bit. We've got some records here. You can see big names. in that, of course, and then the stats and rank history, so you can kind of track where everybody is and select people to track here as well. Pretty good. Don't really go to this screen very much apart from to kind of look at the rankings once, maybe twice a year. Pro Team is a big screen for me. So you can see here, Hannah on the women's tour is ranked 555th in the world. She's 18th on the junior tour. But we're not going to really be on the junior tour for events that much. We're going to, the game's going to want to put us, if we let it book automatically, into the women's tour. Now, for the first year, I kind of think that we might just want to focus a little bit on junior and not as much on professional. Moyes is 1677 in the world. That's quite bad. But by the end of the first year, if we do concentrate on juniors, I can see Hannah and Moyes probably being number one in the juniors. And then at age 16, be ready to step up. That might be what we're doing. You can check here the morale. There are various levels. Correct is the midpoint. They can get angry, they can get frustrated. There's a number of different categories within their morale, which would be like the confidence, their relaxation, their emotion, and there's another one I'm not quite getting. Their relaxation, motivation, confidence, and emotion. Those are the four. So that all plays into their morale. Then they've got their form, and as you're training, you're able to kind of set up for peak form to go into tournaments. And then their physical condition is how well they're going to survive, and late rallies, injury issues, like that all is going to tie into their physical condition. So as we train, again, that's going to get higher. And there's going to get to a point where we play a bunch of tournaments. Some of them might be back-to-back if we let the CPU book them, which I'm tempted to do. But yeah, that we might go into tournaments quite tired and have a much higher likelihood of injury or being just flat knocked out. So you can see what we're doing this week, the injury risk, our next tourney, and the surface mastery. So the tournament where we're going to be in, we played in a certain surface, and we can see how much as a percentage that player likes that surface. The higher, the better they're going to play on the surface. Their game plans, you can see they're all yellow for now. We'll look at that a little bit later. And then the satisfaction, we're going to set goals. And this is how close we are, or how satisfied they are of having fulfilled or come close to some of those goals. If we fail, they're going to be unhappy. They might even ask to be released. And we can see their coach. We only really have us at the moment assigned to Hannah. And we attend all of the matches because we coach her. What I am going to do is just click once. We're going to attend all the players' final. If you click twice, you can select the level from which you watch them. 3, you attend all their matches. This means you don't attend matches. So for the finals, I kind of want to attend Moyes' finals. We're going to attend all of Hannah's matches, but we're probably going to simulate a decent amount. And then also on the screen, you can see the actual players, including their contracts, which is your contract with them, but also their outfits, their shoes, which are tied together, usually, not always, and their racket sponsorship. So it looks like we got a couple of Nike athletes. They're both set up. We've got Wilson rackets for Hannah, and Moyes has Dunlop. That's absolutely fine. See the game plans. And again, we've got red for stuff he does know to play. Yellow, he's okay at. We don't have any greens. Same for Hannah. We start off in the same place. Bunch of different trainings. And we can kind of change that here as well. Right now, it looks like we're probably going to be starting off on cardio for both. If there's injuries, we can see here. We can see their training. We can plan adjust their training even more here. We can build out into the future a little bit. And we can see here for each of the periods how things are going to go. So we start out prepping for the season. Not too bad. That's kind of the end of the year. And then we move into the new year. And from week 1 on, we start the hard season. Then week 14, we move on to clay. Then we do a little bit of grass, not a ton of grass. Then it's back to a hard season and an indoor season to finish off. Now, it is worth noting that, indoor is a fairly hard surface, right? It's like a gym floor, arena floor. Then we got the hard season again, another hard surface. Grass is a little softer usually. Clay, another pretty hard surface. So you're pretty much playing on hard or harder surfaces for the entire year with a little bit of grass in the middle. So, yeah, for British people, we might be thinking more of grass courts and Wimbledon and that being a big focus. And for me, I'd love Hannah, especially, or a British kid that comes through our academy one day to win Wimbledon. That would be the dream for me. That's kind of our big end goal we're going to try and get to. I don't know if we're going to get there. But if we're not good on those harder surfaces and we only have those like 5 weeks of grass, being a grass specialist kind of limits you elsewhere. So, yeah, there's a real balancing act for me with that. We haven't set goals yet. Looking at contracts before we move away as well. You see the amount of years, the starters, they're both promising. They're both 3 years. And we take 71% of Moise's winnings and 65% of Hannah's. Now, I believe we'll have our own goals, and it'll probably tell us like 15% or above on player contracts. As they get more experience and as they sort of develop and win more and become better players, they're going to ask to reduce this. And it's up to you whether you do or not. But if you reduce it a little bit, they might get a little bit upset. If you reduce it a lot, you're losing money, but they'll be happy. If you don't reduce it, they're really going to be unhappy. But they did sign the contract. That's not my fault, right? Balancing. You can see here there are automatic registrations. We can see kind of what is junior tour and what is adult tour. You can always go to the current week, but there aren't any tournaments at 49. So you'll be able to see. It also allows you to go completely through and pick different things. So really, if you think that you're in between juniors and adult tour, then you could select like somewhere around here, like the girls' finals and the women's tour 80s or 100, and kind of bounce around that kind of mid ground. Or you can just say anywhere is fine. You can also limit it to recommended. And here you can see for Hannah, yeah, we can go to the futures and we could play, in Australia. We could go and play up in Glasgow. We can go out to Hong Kong. But also we could just go on the junior circuit and go to San Jose, Costa Rica. And we could go to South America here as well. So, yeah, it really depends. It really does depend. And I think early in the year, I'm going to want to be booking some of these. So I'm going to say right now, I'm going to book Hannah in there. And then maybe here early on in the season, then we basically skip 1 or 2 weeks We do want to get 20 in, so we can't go every 3 weeks, which is kind of what I'd want to do is tournament, rest and recover for the first half of the week, train for the first half of this week, rest and prepare mentally, and then go into another tournament. So leaving 2 weeks between tournaments is good, but usually equipment contracts have more of a higher number of tournaments they want you to have played in. So you don't want to go back-to-back weeks very much, but yeah, if you're able to do a lot, then that's great. And we can register. So it also got the draw size, so it tells you how many people are playing, and you should know roughly where you are. So, yeah, there's 32 spots here in the women's tour 60. But we're number 500 odd in the world, so it really depends what other tournaments are about. But there's a good chance we're not in the top ranked 32. We might not get accepted to play in that tournament, even though it's recommended to us. So yeah, you can see here there's a lot that just aren't really available because they're qualifiers and etc. And up here you can see there are a ton more sort of high level tournaments. So you expect quite a lot of these to be filled by the top 100. So all those will be gone, and then you're looking then at the next 200 or 300, so you're down to 400. By the time you get down to this, where is it? Yeah, this one here in Launceston. By the time you get down to this, you're probably looking at 400 to 500, so there's a chance we could play in it. And we probably would get accepted. But can I play juniors, get to the Grand Slam in week 5, and that to me is a good start. So we'll play, we'll have a week off, we'll play, we'll have a week off, and we'll play. And that will dictate where we are on the juniors. See what we can do. And then do we want to move up? Do we want to do something? Or do we want to go to South America and maybe pick up a Porto Alegre? That might be a really good one to pick up. So we'll kind of see how we get on up until like week 4, 5. And we can decide from there. And I'm going to do the same thing here with Kwame. It looks like they want him to play futures in week 52. I think I'm going to skip that. We're going to go straight to San Jose to the boys 300. Skip this week. Go to yeah. I want to go here, but I think if we go there, then we wouldn't be able to go to the Australian Open Junior. So again, I think very, very similar. Just a week's rest in between these, but ending up at the Aussie Open would be kind of what I want to do. So he gets a couple of shots. He goes to Costa Rica, he goes to Australia, and then he stays in Australia for his. And Hannah goes to Costa Rica, goes to Australia, stays in Australia. So they should be doing the same tournaments, just the boys' event and the girls' event. But they're traveling together, they're doing the right things. That to me is absolutely fine. Reports, there'll be more as we go on. Statistics, there'll be more as we go on. Results, prize list, all that is there. One thing I do like to do at the start is just get regular stuff because no pluses or minuses. And I think maybe Pinky. is fine. Yeah, absolutely fine. And Kwame, again, we want to take off all these pluses and minuses. So different equipment will help you or hinder you in different ways. So you can be more of a returner with drop shots here, but less serve power and timing and counter. So your control is a little more off here. Even though your control's up in general, offensive and defensive shot control is down. Your serve power gives way for a better return. So you can customize for opponent or to cover weaknesses or to boost strengths, and you can kind of play around on it here. This is more of a power racket, so you lose your spin and a bit of control. You just gain a bit more power on your forehand, backhand, and your serve. Better volleys and timing, but worse counters and control. And the exact same thing here. Okay, so not as many options as maybe you would want. As maybe you'd want, he says, after having to reload after a crash. I'm not sure why, but like switching back and forth the racket, it crashed. Maybe it was trying to update this model too much. So yeah, maybe not play around quite as much on this screen. Don't mind the fit and dry. Roger and green, Roger and black, that fits for me. So yeah, we'll have different options based on the manufacturer, as well as, you know, each different type of shoe having different kinds of bonuses. And we can change a lot up here about their appearance over time. We can kind of tweak things. But yeah, we're not going to mess too much with that. And in fact, I'm going to save, even though I haven't really changed too much, we've changed the equipment a little bit. That's it. But there's no pluses or minuses now on our screen. As we get in good or bad form, you'll see pluses or minuses showing up on each side. But we're pretty solid across the board. Hannah does look really, really good. But like I say, we need to train physical, mental. Kwame, very good physical. He's solid mental. He needs a little bit more work technically. So that is fine. And then the academy, kind of your bread and butter. You can see your youth academy when it comes through will be listed here. We will get 4 young players, or up to 4. We might not get 4. And we've only got a level 1 youth team. So it's not amazing. You can see the team you've got. We've got 2 young talents, not rated very high. We will be the worst out of everybody. You can see each of our departments have their own rating and the number of staff assigned within those. You can see our talent zone isn't bad, but isn't amazing. And the major titles going to be zeros for a while. And these are just staff you can't do anything with. They're always the same. They're always there. So that is fine. Staff assignments is going to be key. If we do go through, like I said, we have a staff member that's really, really good at coaching, physical, tactical, mental, and training. Now, the sad thing is, because we're starting from scratch, we don't have good staff. And like we're not good at anything. So it would really be right now, our best setup would be probably this. So it really hurts us not having good staff. And then we need to hire a coach and a physio, because our best physio is also not very good. So what I want to do is hire a coach that has high motivation, high mental, and high tactics. I want to replicate Harold, not as good as Harold, unfortunately, but replicate Harold to a certain degree. in Moises' coach, so that they can do the coaching, they can do the tactical, mental, and they can do the training, which then means I only need to hire someone that's good at these physicals, which should be easy movement, physical abilities. We'll be able to get 3 to 4 stars there, a little bit easier. And then just somebody who's good at technical training, that will take care of things there. That being said, that does leave us with Anthony Myers, Jameson Gutierrez, and also the Vladislava Demeshkovic, who just is not a good physio either. We're going to be wanting to sack those staff members. That's what it boils down to. So we'll have to hire people and come back to that. So that'll be something I'll do off camera, and we'll come back. You can see our finances broken down. The sports center has so many different things. You know, it unlocks, you can see here, a player space, a staff slot player space. If you click here on this side, you can see at each level. We've already unlocked the trainer because we've got level 1. And then you can see what we'd unlock. So we'd unlock a player slot at level 2. We'd unlock another trainer at level 3. And just bonus on clay throughout as we update our clay courts. It also earns money. The expenses go up. So, 1.8k here becomes 2.4k profit, becomes 4.3k profit a month. And finally, if we maxed it out, which is a lot of money and a lot of time, then we would get 5.3k per month. Sports Center is currently level 1. This would increase it by certain amounts to get us up towards level 2, level 3, level 4 of the Sports Center. Each of these play in. One thing you're going to want to do and cost a decent amount of money is going to be the Sports HQ, because we've got level 1. That's an extra manager around, well, us as a manager, the analyst, which you need one, and the extra coach and 2 physios. We've already got room for everything. The extra player, so I think we've got room for, 4 players, I think it was at the beginning. And that's through your starting level. So level 1 here. We've also got level 2, which is another 2 coaches, another player. So I think you start with 2, so that would be where we get our 4 from. But with us and these coaches, we can actually get 4 coaches to train 4 players, and a total of 5 physios, which means each of those 4 players would have a physio. It's going to cost more money over time. It's not going to cost a ton. It's going to cost building costs, not running costs. Doesn't give you any money, but the Sports HQ is key for developing and growing the academy in terms of pure numbers for players and for staff. And you can see our staff here. We have 4 coaches available to hire. One of them is us. We need at least another one because we got Moise. We've got Myers and Gutierrez we looked at. They're terrible. So for $1,000 each, or 1,000, yeah, we're in pounds. So £1,000 each, they can both go. That's fine. Analysts, Sophia Olsen is pretty much just player evaluation. She's pretty terrible. I know we've just started. I know it's brand new. Academy. In-game lore, we would have just hired these people, but I would never have hired these people. So these were temporary staff just to get things up and running from whoever put this in to actually start the academy. And we've then been hired, and we've decided that, yeah, we need to do our own staff. Medical center, bunch here. Really, it's unlocking injury, duration, and I think a couple of these maybe are just big money, like the balneotherapy will be big money. In fact, we're gonna do that one pretty quickly because we're currently earning like 45k. This would put that up to 92k. That's big. 50k a month, couple of 100,000. That makes sense. This is 95k to upgrade, and again, it'd be a solid jump. Maybe we do that 23k, and this would be pretty good as well. We'd only be on the first, but that's an extra 10K a month, which means within 2 months, we'd make our money back. I think that makes sense. So early on with your money, it's this kind of thing, 42K. Do we want to give up some money to get some recovery? Maybe. Maybe. Like almost 30K here for 113. Let's throw that up. So we've already just burned through 300K. That's fine. We are also going to be sacking Vladislava because her ability to provide care is only an 11, and we should be able to get better. And then Youth Academy and the Youth Scouting Center. We're going to get our youth for this season in before we can upgrade this. But this will make us a little bit better. It will cost a little bit of money. Very tempted to do that. This, though, much less and only 30K. I think that is almost a no-brainer. I'm going to sink my money in. Half the money's gone. Half the money has gone. And all we've done is sack people. And then scouting, an 11. Like, you can go. And then business center. This is money making. This is pure money making. This, you don't get any other bonuses. It's just money making. So yeah, you can see their max monthly income would be 21.5K. If we got this, we might not get this much each time, but yeah, to get 20K for a cost of 30, I'm upgrading. 100%. I am upgrading that. And 22K for 193. I think I'm upgrading. And that might be our upgrades. Those might be our upgrades. We've blown through a lot of the money. And then agents who just aren't great. Again, we're going to get rid of. So yeah, we're going to get our objectives in a day or two. There's going to be sporting, financial, and reputation. So growing our reputations pretty much here. The sport objectives are going to be sort of retain our players, sign a new player, usually, and what's the other one? Upgrade your facilities in one of these categories to the next level. We can see a bit about ourselves here. Then the search, when you're evaluating people, you'll see them listed up here with your scouts. You can scout for players here, and you can scout for staff here. So we need to come into staff, but we need to kind of take a look at things first and figure out exactly how many we're allowed. And so we need, like, we've got room to get 3 coaches. We really need only 1. So 2 trainers, we need to hire both of those. We know what we're looking for in those trainers. We need to hire ourselves an analyst. We're going to need to hire ourselves 2 physios. We can do 5, but we need 2. And we need to hire our scout/recruiter. And we need to hire an agent. And you can see here all of these are set up. So let's start with the analysts. Like I say, this is pretty much just going to be player evaluation. The way I like to do this, sort by the experience level, figure out where we're going to go, and then we can look at evaluation. I didn't really want to go past this point, and so the best person we got will be Hai Tong Shu, who's got a player evaluation of 14, much better than the 11 we had. Doesn't want to join us. Next best is Sophia, doesn't want to join us. So we're kind of struggling here because we've got a really bad setup. And yeah, I can get 12. I can get 12. That's better than the 11 we had. That's better than the 11 we had. So we're going to have to pay money up front. We're hiring, what, one coach, two trainers. So that's going to be two physios and then three extra. 8, I think. Yeah. We're going to be hiring 8 people. And if everybody takes 10 grand, then that's going to be 80. If they take a little bit more, it's going to take a little bit more. So we're going to be kind of close on the which is why I left myself like 300 grand to work with. I spent a little bit more, but I think that will help us, and I think we will still be fine. And you can usually just ask for a little bit less in both or 2 in 1. They sometimes are okay. I don't want to mess this. Level 4, that's about as high as I want to go. I kind of want to stay 3 and below, but yeah. He accepts. No, he doesn't join us. He goes back and thinks about it. And so now we've got to wait. Then we go to our scouts. Again, we're still sorted by this experience. And pretty much, if I can stay 4 or above at level 3, I'll be very happy. That might not be exactly where we can be. Now, I believe we can only get one of these. And it doesn't really matter which, but Belen says no. Paulo says no. Gabriela says no. But Milena Yankukyan of Armenia says yes, she's a level 2. She's pretty solid. Again, I'm always going to offer 5, even though we're not going to probably get there. Going to do the same, just a touchdown on the salary per month and pay them their money up front. That's fine. So we've done our analyst, we've done our scout. Then it's one agent, I believe. And this is going to be, like I say, better terms is negotiation, more options is communication. I'm not really sure which way round I like these, but we got 16, 13, 15, 14. See, your level 5s. I think that's too high for me, so yeah. Yeah, okay. So Sean Schumann, the Tomislav Fatic will be kind of where my absolute limit would be here. I think Sofia Illich is just a better fit for us. That's still pretty good. She doesn't want to come. Zratkovic don't want to come. Rossi doesn't want to come. Okay. So that's not great. Now we've got to step up into this bracket. And if I'm stepping up into this bracket, we're going to try these two first. Yeah, so Barbara, as our agent, she's going to want more money. She's going to want bigger signing on bonus. Kind of a key part. And that would be a good agent. It is up to level 4 again. But yeah, I think it's okay. And then physio. We're okay. So what's the end of 3? So wrist stitch is 3. Moros is 4. Wrist stitch and Moros. Wrist stitch and Moros. And we're looking here at the ability to provide care. So where's wrist stitch? There. So the best underneath would be 14. Harold Duda doesn't want to come. We got a 13 in Ubon, Kara, and Weber. So yeah, people don't want to join us for different reasons. Number 1, we're not a big enough program. Number 2, they don't want to come to our country. But In his boss, Will, level 5, she's only an aspirant. She's got solid physiotherapy skills. So we've got a level 2 that's got 13. And then from Ristic to Moros, wasn't it? Pretty sure it's Moros. Okay. So yeah, again, I'm just going to go from the best skill down since we're having to come up this far and see if any of these will talk to us. They are Moros Will from Ukraine. So level 4, fairly high, but not too bad. We have the money to do this. That would get us our 2 physios. Now, maybe they don't join. Maybe they don't. But it is what it is. And I'm just going to have to really sort of figure out what we're doing here. So I want someone with good stats in both of these. But we also then need someone with good stats in a lot of these. And that's going to be difficult. But that's kind of where we've set ourselves up to be. That is kind of where we set ourselves up to be. Unless we can get someone that's good here and then we just hire the physical coach as a trainer. Yeah, that's what we're actually doing, aren't we? Yeah, that is what we're doing. We're doing mental, we're doing tactics, and we're doing training. So, okay, so what we're looking for then are these 2 end columns. In fact, everything on this screen apart from these 2 is what I'm looking for. So someone like Alice Sural could be okay. She doesn't have great motivation, but she could be okay. And we're only looking for one, so we're trying to get the best one that we can find. Anderson Roberts looks like a decent trainer, can do mental and tactics a little bit, ability to motivate. I think he's okay. So Anderson Roberts is a level 4, which would probably fill out. Okay, Clock looks okay. Not amazing, but okay. Charlie Wilson, not amazing here, amazing elsewhere. Wait, what am I talking about? These are trainers. These are trainers. Yeah, no, it's just these 2 unmotivating. Right? Yeah, that's all we need. Charlie's like great. And he wants to talk to us. Yeah, no, yeah. Okay, I kind of got things wrong there. I need these 2 are motivation. These 2 are one trainer. This is another trainer. That's it. That's all there is to it. And this is going to be difficult to get on a trainer. This is going to be really, really difficult. We'll check level 4 and work our way up. Hashimoto. Not bad. Really not bad. 10, 11, 12, 12, 13, 14, 14. Okay. So it's +4, +6, +2, -2. So pretty much the same number of points, just spread differently for Acosta. Okay, so -1, +2, +4, +1, +5, +4, +1. Katya is better overall with a decent spread. Oh boy. Yeah, okay. +2, +4, +5, 7 plus 8. Yeah, I like him. I do like him. See, this is all I. This is just the way I try and think about it. So -2, -3, minus. Yeah. So even though we're gonna pick up on the back end, like this -6 is equal here, and we're already -3 along the way. This is really tough to beat, to be fair. Liam Boulanger might just be like a fantastic option. There might be better, and we look over here. So Lisa Schmidt, we're +1 through these, so -1, even, and +3. Lisa Schmidt, and she can do service. Schmidt and Boulanger. I think they're just my choices. Doesn't want to join, and Liam does. Okay. Liam does 5 years. Whew. Didn't want to mess that up. She would have been great, but like I can't argue getting someone of this capabilities and still only be in that level 4. Well, level 3, so if I can keep them to level 3, level 4, that's fine by me. I'm fairly happy with that. And then it's just someone who's good at movement and physical activities again. Set up for 4. We've got a 14, 13. Rose Gauthier. That's definitely going to be the best option to start with. So we're just going to try. She's going to say no. 14. Oh, I was looking wrong. That was 11, 14. 11, 13. Now we got a 12, 13. He doesn't want to join us either. Yeah, it's kind of threadbare. I'm not used to the physicals being difficult. I'm really not used to the physicals being this difficult. 11, 13, 10, 14. Okay. Junji Ramsden, or Junji Ramsden. Australian for 5 years. Bring you in. And then you can see here there's a bunch of contracts here. We got rid of a bunch of people. I'm just going to set them all to have been read. Sometimes you can't delete them until you come back to the screen after reading them, but we've sacked some staff. We failed some negotiation. We've got agreements in principle. They'll come back within a week and tell us, and then it'll take another couple of days to join. And we have a warning that we don't have physical therapists. Things might not work out very well, so be careful. But it's the end of the season. We're all at rest. Perfect time to have nothing going on. And here we go. You can see level 1 in the medical center. I think we've already got a few upgrades. We might get up to level 1. That will be fine. Recruit a player. 15% revenue share or above. Keep our current players. And increase reputation. So we're doing this. If we do okay and doesn't take a ton, we will complete this. We're completing this already. When that's absolutely fine. We're not going to get rid of our 2 players. That's fine. Recruiting 1 player before the end of the season, maybe. I'm kind of happy with that too. But right now, our objectives, we're kind of in a good place. That's fine. And it can see, you can see all these different bits and pieces, and there is a press conference. So We go to the next day. We hit the press conference. Let's see. We've arrived in London. We've been before. Yeah, it's a great location. That's fine. I'm just discovering it, but all that I care is it tennis country. With Hannah, we knew conditions were meant for us to succeed. Boring questions. Next question, please. Or we can just say nothing to add and we walk straight out. Daisy Miller, United Tennis. I like these first two. I like this. Well, this might be like a boost Hannah answer. Kind of want to be on the same page as Hannah. I might want to just do this. This feels like we're united. This is just like talk up the area. This is talking about it being tennis country. I don't know if the game thinks it is or not, so I'm going to say that. Why did I decide to manage a tennis academy? Yeah, I can never see myself working in something other than tennis. My culture of winning would only be beneficial to the players I'll be working with. They're all fun answers in certain ways, but I think that suits us a little bit more. Building that culture, developing these players to really take advantage of their natural gifts, teach them what you can teach, and just watch them grow and dominate, hopefully. Training facilities. Training philosophy, sorry. So strategy based on statistics. Morale is good. I like morale, but I think that's kind of a lower end answer. Technique. I mean, I can't teach that, but sure. Leaders of their respective circuits. No, we want to grow into the leaders. We don't want to recruit the leaders. A lot of players know how to play tennis. What set great players apart, mental aspect, ability to show up in top form every day at practice, prepare for the key moment that'll let you win the match. That is us. Let's get that done. And investing in infrastructure. What are we going to do? Recruitment, staff, or training courts? Staff. That's what we're in the middle of. Oop, little fiddly, but there we go. So definitely staff. Rankings update. You can see at the end of the first season who's kind of in charge. But Janssen has signed. Now we're paying the money. Keep an eye on this figure. We just went down from 270 to 260s. Yankovan, Resch, Boss, Moros, Wilson. That's the big one. That's our coach. Boulanger and Ramsden. Those are the trainers we needed to do. And then a little bit here about training facilities. And like I say, coming back to the page allows you to delete the stuff that you just have. 185k. And then we wait. They're going to start training, but we still haven't actually got ourselves up and running. Still haven't got ourselves up and running. And here come the goals. Now, I'm going to be a little harsh on goals. We're going to set for the women's tour. We're gonna try for top 500. We're not that far off it. We can get top 500. I really don't want to go higher. She in the other game she liked to push up to like 300s. I don't feel like that's good. A semi-final in a rookie, I think, will be fine. It's a little hit, but not bad. And the national ranking of 15, I think, is fine because I don't expect her to be amazing this season. And let's not set goals for the juniors, which improves her morale. Because even though I want to play juniors, she wants to focus on the women's. So you can kind of get away with it a little bit here. We've got to set goals on the Pro Tour here. Sure, yeah. We've got to be. Like you're 1600 right now. break the top 1,000. He likes that goal. He likes that goal. It's a big jump. But one or two good tournaments, if we pick correctly, I think we can get there. And he's not that far behind Hannah, who's already in the top 500 in her sort of version of the Pro Tour, the Women's Tour. So why can't Moyes do that? Again, you're a little low. I'm going to go for a quarterfinal in a rookie. It's going to take back some of that morale, but I think, yeah, that gives us a good chance of doing this. So if we do fail the ranking, we should get this top 100 in French players. That's the lowest we can do. It's a tiny little bump. And we're not setting junior goals. Again, we gained a little bit of a bump. So overall, improved the morale a tiny bit. Now we've got solid goals. So rank 500, we're 550. Small jump needed. We need to get to a rookie semi-final. And we are top 15 already. So, you know, we're kind of hitting our goals pretty easily with Hannah. If we can get to a semi-final, we get enough points just to move up slightly and maybe gain one rank. She'll be delighted with the season. Kwame's going to be that bit more difficult. We need a big jump, but if we can win one of these rookies, and we're only asking to go quarterfinal, but if we can win one, then this will jump up a few hundred, and we could easily see ourselves in the top 1,000. I think the talent's there. It's just going to be getting enough points over the season to really push up to that level. And by doing that, we should rise up through the ranks of French players. But again, it's a pretty big jump. So Kwame, there's more risk. And that's just kind of where it is. You can see they're both correct morale. They're both average form. They're both 100% physicalities. We still don't have the coach or extra staff or physios or stuff in yet. We're still waiting on that. They will start to come in. There's Hannah's training, and we are going to unstar her. I don't need that little reminder of what's going on. And again, here you can see the little breakdown. You'll get emails as well of this as it goes. So we need to go forward a little bit. Now we get all of our staff. We spoke really well. This is all good. We have all our staff. And now immediately we can start adding in. So Wilson. And again, we click here. He is a 4-star physical. He is a 4-star physical. So he is a good physical. But what we hired him for was to match what we do for Hannah. And not quite as good, but still pretty good. So Moyes is in a good place. That's fine. Boulanger does our technical. He is going to be really good. You can see his stats there. He'll train really, really nicely. And then not as good, but a solid physical trainer. But Yunji, not really much else we could do there, sadly. And again, they're only 2-star here, so they'd be worse at doing the tactical and mental if we were to take over the training, which both coaches would be better as. But for right now, starter staff, we're much better than we were. And then Bosch and Morosh are 2 physios. We got 3 stars for physical, 3-star for physio, 3.5 for technical. And then Charlie Wilson's a pretty good coach. 4-star, 3.5, 4-star. And Marcus is 555. Now we're set up. Finally, we are set up. And you can see the staff. We can still hire 2 more coaches to coach 2 more players. We really would struggle because we'd need an extra trainer, which we don't have, because they can each do 1 more. So we could get a 3rd in and still have Boulanger and Ramsden doing their training categories. But we couldn't bring that 4th one in, even though we've got room as a player and room for the coach. We just can't do it on the trainers. We are developing This Needs Sculptor 1.0. We have got a month left on these two, a little under a month on this. We should easily hit that and hit that objective. We can get 3 more physios, but again, we really can only afford 1 more player because of the restrictions on trainers. So even though we could have physios for 3, coaches for 2, we've only got trainer space realistically right now for 1. And so you wouldn't want to hire more than 1 physio or coach either. But we've got ourselves a solid little setup. And then in the staff, we've got a recruiter. And on the business side, we've got our agent. They all help out. So I feel like we're in a good place. We still got 20 days to our next tournament. Everything is set up, looking okay. And they'll be getting ready now. They'll be, ready to go. And so, yeah, that's where I'm going to leave this first episode without music, so no copyright issues. I hope you enjoyed. Please do let me know what you think in the comment section. Let me know, do you want to see more of this tennis manager? I really want to kind of get this off the ground. So smash those like buttons, smash those subscribes, kind of get this out there into the algorithm and kickstart this series off. I really would appreciate it. It has a massive influence you cannot underestimate. So do like videos from content creators who you enjoy watching. I hope that's me, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, take care, stay safe, all the best to you. And this is going to be a fun journey for me. I hope you're along.